What is up, everybody? Welcome to a Fateless Q&A that we're doing where we posted some different topics on Discord and Patreon and YouTube, asking some of the questions that you would like us to address. And shout out, we had a bunch of questions come in. I narrowed it down to about 10 or so. So, obviously we can't get to every single one out of the 100 or 200 or whatever, but we're going to try to get to a variety of different topics and bounce around and get some different perspectives here as we embark on our journey. So if you guys are ready to rock, I'm ready to go for diving into these questions.
Do it.
Sweet. I have
Sounds good.
the physical dice actually. I've decided since we're not going to be doing it on the screen.
Okay.
We're doing it old school style. Let's do it.
That's right. So Sham had this idea to roll some dice to decide for who kicks off the answer to each question and gets the discussion rolling. So that's what we're going to be doing to figure out who starts with the answer. So first up, I definitely want to start with a Patreon question because we appreciate all of you wonderful Patreon supporters. So first up, we have got James Stoy coming in. How do you choose which content creators to bring on as part of the Fateless team? New faces are joining all the time, and I'm just curious.
I guess in a way, we don't necessarily. It's difficult. So we've built up a network for over the past 3 years, obviously with HH Gaming, and we've met a lot of like-minded creators. The people who have come on board with us have, I guess, been specifically selected for their knowledge about either the game industry, the games that we cover as a whole, but as well as that, their passion for the industry and wanting to create something different or better than what we've already got on the market. So although we have been having a lot of creators and things like that getting involved, there's also people who aren't creators, who are still involved in the industry, who we've pulled in. Obviously, we're trying to trickle feed a lot of the information out on YouTube to let you guys know who is becoming a part of this journey and Fateless as a whole. And there will be creators that you do know and you do recognize. But I guess the ones that we've announced, at least so far, they're not being brought on, I guess, for their ability to create content. They're really being brought on for their insight that they're going to give into the project and the type of game that we want to create as a whole. I don't know if Simon, maybe you want to give a little bit of input into that as well.
I'll just add one thing actually, because I think you're right. Like they've all got different walks of life, that type of stuff. But the thing which is really cool is that all of the creators that we've seen so far, and there's going to be a couple more that you're going to see in the future as well, they've all approached Fateless and said, really love what you're doing with this project. How can I get involved? So, it's seen Mike, MTash, obviously Brad here hosting for us, and there's going to be a couple of others as well, Saf as well. Like they've all come to us and said, we definitely want to be involved in the project. What can we do? How do we get involved? And really, we're then kind of saying, well, okay, let's work through that. So that's very cool, actually.
Then we've got question number 2 coming in from DC McKay. Hello, I greatly appreciate your work for the raid community. So first of all, thank you. You've mentioned many games to see the most interesting mechanics to incorporate. So my question is, what style will your first game be? An RPG like Raid or an open world game? See you soon and best of luck in the future.
So the first game we're making is very much like Raid. It's going to be an RPG. It's going to be based on a large IP that everyone will be familiar with. So all the characters you're going to collect, and we're looking for around 300 on launch because we want a nice, robust collection to build up right away, since it's obviously one of the most important parts in the gacha game. Like I said, it'll be an IP everyone's going to love, and you're going to love catching those characters.
Question number 3. Geez, there's always one troll in here. We've got one from Chosen Plays that says, hey guys, thanks for doing this. I would like to know who the best golfer is in the Fateless crew. So I'm sorry.
Let's see who gets to answer this question.
I tried my best
don't
to
answer.
screen.
Yeah. I feel like Chosen's going to have to answer this.
I think maybe this would be a fun one. We can just go around quickly. What's like your favorite activity outside of gaming? Like, what activity do you think you're best at, or what's your favorite? For me, obviously, I guess it would be golf. That's kind of what I like to do in my free time and all that. So I guess we can just go. We'll start at the bottom.
Are you a scratch? Simon, are you a scratch golfer?
I right now I'm probably slightly worse than scratch. When I was playing in league, my official handicap was 1.8 under par, but
nice.
that was like 3 or 4 years ago. So right now I've probably lost a few strokes. I'm probably like a 2 or a 3 handicap if I had to guess right now.
Very nice. Yeah, I used to play to about 12 and love golf, but yeah, I never got to that sort of crazy level.
I'm brand new to golf and I play off about 27. So
Nice.
Hey, you know, that's not bad for being brand new. Next, we had coming up from Dr. Varu LV that says, what is the design breakdown between the Fateless team and Magic Media? Will Fateless have writers and designers to create all the characters, storyline, game mechanics, with Magic Media doing the code development to bring it to life? Or will Magic Media be doing most of the creative process with input and feedback from the Fateless team? Very good question there.
So I guess for us, it was really, really crucial when we were talking to a number of different studios that we kind of got quotes from, that, you know, we control what goes on in this game. And by that, I mean, we set all of the creative direction, and basically we work hand in hand with Magic Media. So Magic Media will employ all of the game developers. They will employ writers, but we might also employ a writer separately to their team, honestly. And basically they will create our vision. That's the kind of vibe here. So, you know, any of the kind of game modes, honestly, it's become more like a discussion between us and them, as if we're all part of the same team. It's like, here's our idea board, there's their idea board. We're kind of like looking at different artistic styles. We're looking at different kind of game ideas. We're looking at other competitors in the genre already, and kind of like seeing what's cool and what's not there. And then we're kind of piecing it all together. But ultimately, they employ a lot of the kind of work for hire, and we try and give them great direction for a fun game.
Then we've got one from D Sama, and it's going to be interesting who answers this one. Hello, is everybody fine? And is the synergy within the team going well so far?
I'll be honest. So obviously we started getting the team together, and what people are starting to see now publicly is something that's actually been in motion for, I mean, really a few years, because of the fact that we worked with Sham when he was developing his game in the past, and that's where Simon and I first met him. Chosen, we've worked with very much for years, and everyone else involved. Although we've just kind of come together under the hat of Fateless, we've all been friends and associates, and, you know, really colleagues, I guess, at least within the content creation space for many years. And I feel like, although there's I think a healthy amount of opposing opinions on how things should be done, I think collectively that becomes almost a driving force that, okay, we should go this way. And, you know, obviously we've got very strong leadership in place that's, you know, Sham's heading up primarily the drive for the development and the direction of how we're pulling things together. And I feel like in terms of synergy, it's something that's, I guess if you compare it to like a World of Warcraft guild, we're effectively forming a new team, but we've all played together in the past. So we already know people's personalities and things like that. We're just working out the finer details of how we work together and drive this project forward. But so far, so good. I'm very happy with it.
We've got one coming in here from Adrian, and this is always going to be a hot topic. This will probably be in every video that we do like this. So how will you address the usual pay-to-win problems mobile games have? And how is your model going to work / be different from the usual? Uh-oh, who has to answer this one?
I mean, personally, I'm not a huge pay-to-win fan on games. I like to put a lot of time into gaming, and I don't really learning the mechanics of the game, trying to get really good at it. So if all that time means nothing because someone just, you know, paid more than me and then they just crushed me in the arena or whatever it is, like it makes all your time feel completely valueless. So obviously I want the time to feel important. But it is fun to like playing games like this. And like I grew up playing even like Magic the Gathering as a kid, which was like kind of the first gotcha game in a sense. And there is a fun part to like buying stuff, building up a collection, amassing just all these things. Like it's almost like a story over time, because you remember sometimes you bought, you know, say I put $25 in this month and I pulled out and I got like the character I really wanted. So there is like some fun though when you're, you know, spending money and getting stuff, but it's always kind of just building up a collection. But once you start having to like spend like $1,000 a month just to keep up, that's obviously out of control. And then we want, obviously nothing will be paywalled. Like there won't be anything that you couldn't do for free that you, like, you know, everything will be available to you. I think just spending money will just help you build a bigger collection quicker, but you should easily be able to get the tools you need as a free player by just kind of looking up guides, not wasting your time, knowing what you're doing, getting good at the game. You should be easily competitive.
I wouldn't mind just jumping in. Like, I think summed up really well when it's like anyone can get to the same place. That's kind of like one of our driving forces. But if you pay, you get there quicker. That's basically what the pay is. Is pay to play faster, not pay to win. And we're thinking of some pretty interesting mechanics around, you know, how do we do arena in a non-pay to win way. So we've got some stuff which we'll probably talk about in a separate video because it's quite complex. But ultimately, we're drawing from other games, other genres even, in terms of what do they do to make a really fun experience, but not necessarily a pay to win experience. But we also have to like face it up. You know, this game's going to cost millions of dollars to build. We absolutely have got to make money out of this game. We're not going to hide behind the fact that it's not going to be free game and there's no revenue and stuff. There'll be packs to buy if you choose to buy them. We don't want to be coming across in this kind of like greedy, big corporate business type of way, but there will be packs to buy. And if you want to, buy them and progress faster, then that's cool too. It's almost like we want to drop this whole, am I a free to play a label? Because we don't really want it to matter. It's just, are you enjoying the game, playing at your pace? And, you know, if you are someone who wants to drop a load of money, that's fine. But if you're not, that's fine too.
And then we've got another one. I think you're getting in here twice here, Dr. Varu LV, asking some good ones here. So what happens with all the data from the game idea threads on Discord, which, by the way, if you don't know, we do have a Discord server where you are allowed to share your input, and then we will take note of that and react to it. And that's what they're asking about, is where that goes. So they really love the engagement on Discord. And I like that there's a place for community members to voice their opinions on game design. But what are y'all doing with all that info? Is there a giant spreadsheet at Fateless HQ? This sounds like one I should handle, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'll say that.
Well,
yeah, so you're talking
roll.
spreadsheets, you're talking to me, love it. So yeah, we do definitely go through, and a lot of them we will go through Discord and directly respond. But even if we don't respond, we do definitely have internal presentation boards and spreadsheets where every single one we go through and make sure that we read. And then some of the ones that are very impactful or that we think are really good, we definitely take note of. And then we have a sheet internally where we chart all of these tens, hundreds of really good ideas and input, and then we discuss them internally when we are having our meetings. So yeah, we appreciate all the input. Keep it coming, and we will get to as many of them as we can, and we should be able to get to all of them and keep track of them internally. All right, then we've got coming in from DravenX. Do you see a future when you'll do famous people as characters like Ariana Grande in FF, Ronda Rousey in Raid, Snoop Dogg in Call of Duty, or a bunch of them like Saints Row? So I guess we can roll for that one.
I can step in on this one because effectively it's marketing, and marketing is kind of, I guess, my department. All of these sponsorships and things like that, I think they're amazing for driving new people from new areas who haven't necessarily heard about these type of games and things like that. However, they're also very expensive. These people don't agree to doing these type of things for free. I think I would love to get into a place where we're seriously considering bringing somebody like that in. And if somebody was in our community who already had a passion for what we were doing and wanted to work with us and things like that, to give the game extra exposure, I think that would be amazing. But at the end of the day, these are all marketing drives. And you have to weigh up kind of where you're going to get the most return on your investment from your marketing spend and things like that. So I wouldn't write it out altogether. But I would say that I doubt any of these games launched on day one before they had any income at all with this kind of endorsement. And the reality is you have to almost build a player base and build a core income and things like that to even be able to consider affording, the millions that you would have to spend on one of these big names.
Well, then we've got the last one here. This is a good one to wrap up with, and this is coming from Timothy Graham. What's your vision for the core mechanics of the game, similar to Raid or WOR? Do you plan on having game modes that are different to the main mechanics and that type of stuff?
We kind of answered this, I think, a little bit earlier, where we talked about, this is going to be hero collector RPG. Familiar with Raid.
Yeah, I
We
think
do
this
have
would be
some
more
really
like
cool-
dungeons, clan boss, Doom Tower, different like core mechanics. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say the main things, like the staples of this genre, you expect them, right? You're going to see the best version that we can come up with, basically, of these things. We do have some really interesting new features that we're toying around with. Obviously, we can't talk about these specific features, but at the core of the game, it's not going to be a tower defense. We can pretty much already say that. We have played with some ideas around like side games and like different ways to use your champions, but at this stage right now, we're probably not ready to say like these are going to be the core features. Like, we know the characters are going to have stats. We know that we're going to be able to give people characters equipment. We know you're going to have to fight bosses and battle in a campaign that's specific to the IP that we're going to be building upon. So we know that those core things exist, but I think saying like, oh, these are going to be the core the core mechanics, it'd be a little bit early. Like, pretty soon we should be able to start talking about like, oh, we've decided that this is going to be something that's, I guess, a big differentiator in the market for our game. But right now we're just at that pre-production, like giant funnel of ideas, and then filtering, and then compressing it into like the diamond, hopefully, that this game will end up being.
It's been fun, and appreciate all of you. Like Dan said, we'll have the links down below for Discord, Patreon, all that sort of stuff, and it's your support that makes this stuff possible. We're going to try to do videos like this once a month or so and keep you in the loop as best we can, and do everything we can to interact with you on Discord, to stay transparent and keep building this community as we embark on these projects coming up within Fateless. So that'll do it for this one. We'll see you soon in the next video, and cheers, everybody.